Well, hello, children. Today, we're going to be going to the beach. That's right. One of those son of a beach amps. We're going to just jump right the fuck into it. Because apparently, I like to do things 100 times. By the way, if you wonder what I'm referring to, you have no idea. This is like the third time I recorded it. Except this time, I remembered to unmute myself. Hooray! Yeah, moving on. We're just gonna jump right into the block off. The tunnel over here is gonna need some heavy block off into it. So basically, you just need to just block the heck off of it and upgrade everything inside this cave. We do not want the enemies coming into this cave, so you're also gonna put a flooring at the edges, just the edges of the cave here, and the other little caves. The flooring's just going to be edited floor tile with two tiles edited out of it, and go ahead and add a cone here facing this way, and you're just going to fill this in and upgrade everything to the max, and this will prevent smashers from wanting to come through there with our other block off. And yeah, so and yeah, it'll look something like that. With the block off on the back part, you're going to add an extra panel to it, and you're going to surround it with loving walls of metal. And then the pathing we're going for is here. You're going to make a bridge. And it's just a basic. We're using the same pathing as my previous build, which is also a Mitch Rob's build, except this uses about 200 less structures than his old build. So that's a win-win in my book, if I ever heard one, because I'm an overbuilder apparently, and I always have max structures until I built my home base and had a little help from one of my buddies, if you're following along in those other builds. The block off also for the cave, you're going to need the standard cones. Go ahead and surround this whole cave with walls, and just go to town on it, like you would, like that. The cone shaped like this and like that, and a little of this and like there, just all the way around it. With two of the extra floor panels you're going to need is directly connected to this corner. And the reason why you need that is because for some reason the enemies love that corner. Don't ask me why. There's no reason for the enemies to go in that corner. There's no need for those panels. Yeah, you'll see once. Yeah, and 3 panels over from there with the same little edit. Two panel fancy thing with the standard cones, 3 cones with a wall like that, and this is about the minimum block off you need for the block off for the cave and the hill that we're trying to get them to detour from. Connected even with the hill over here, which you would think would be perfect to kill them at, but it's a stupid hill and there's not a lot of space, so you want to try to deter them with the standard cones. I apologize for some of the pre-builds, you know, happy accidents. You're gonna need a wall light and a floor launcher there, and 3 walls on the back part there. This will prevent the slingers from wanting to annoy you there. If you see any slingers annoying you there, just go smack them around a couple times if you're not away from keyboarding. And so once you have all that upgraded, and on the inside, we're going to fill that in with walls. And the reason why we waited is just so you could go ahead and upgrade it. So that way you don't have to make a window or do that from later. one panel we'll have to edit there, which will temporarily prevent a smasher from charging the wall. And we don't want them. We don't want those smashers hitting the edges, so we're just gonna put a little floor panel here, which will edge them out. And you just need 2 of them. The third one isn't necessary because you have a corner piece there, and that, believe it or not, prevents them from there. So you can save 1 panel if you like. And I found out you don't need that. So the Slinger Wall is a miracle of nature. This, believe it or not, will save you 100 structures from your old build. And it'll just be 2 panels from here going out here to the edge of this, and we're going to come up 3 from here from the edge. 1, 2, 3, and we're going to go across 1, 2, to see 3, 4. I think it was 5. Yeah, 5. And then down 3, and just fill this in. And that's all. That's all the Slinger Wall you need, in combination with the recycler and or recycler builds we have at their spawn point. And just go ahead and fill in the Slinger Wall like this, and this will save you so much structures alone, just from rebuilding this from an old build. You should be able to save enough structures to not have as much trouble on other amps with the extra traps you'll have to have fun with. And this is what it will look like, even with the mountain pouring out an avalanche. Don't forget to upgrade everything, and add a block off over here next to the amplifier. We're gonna add just the standard walls. This will prevent the enemies that like to run this way when you're not away from keyboard in the right spot. Basically is what that wall is for, which happens, especially if you're on yeah. Moving on, you're gonna add a over here. The block off you'll need is just a cone, wall, and a wall. And right here next to the meteor spot, you'll need a cone wall with a wooden floor spike on it, which adds a little extra health in the case of accidents happen. You know, accidents with the floor spike coming down. This is basically their spawn point. They're going to want to run up this area here, or not back here, but once you get this blocked off over here with three panels deep, with the cones facing this way, with the 3 walls, and on the wall you're going to have flooring fully upgraded with just the base, just the cone. This will preventions. And I add a little crazy with it. I go ahead and add extra health because the assassin husks like to punch stuff and you want to heal them. And I use a 4 impact. The reason why is because the main thing we're trying to do is push them over into the water. We're trying to knock them off the mountain so they don't go into the amplifier too quickly, which they do not, especially now. So some of their spawn point, which is right there, they're going to run this way. You're going to have add a 3 or 4 bridge here. You can knock them off any way you want. I believe Mitch Robb has a build that knocks them off one lower, and this is his old. It works. Why change something if it works? So that's a Mitch Robb's portion of the build that I didn't feel like breaking down and rebuilding and retrapping. So I apologize for my laziness. corner wall here, so the enemies won't detour. And just we're gonna add a cone, not a cone, angled wall, which prevents the slinger will want to throw no matter what freaking. Yeah, just do that. It's extra. It helps. 2 walls there. And see, connected, yeah, like that. We're gonna add. I think, yeah, and it's gonna look something like this. And from here is the point. Is the danger zone? They're once they hit this point, they're entering the danger zone, and we don't want them getting past this point. We're trying to knock them off down here, so they use their 30-second recycler in this epic recycler that thankfully Epic realized their annoyance about the thing and added 30 seconds to the CC counter. Just adds walls down here just to slow them down so the enemies will focus down this path. You can add extra walls if you like. 3 walls from the water's edge, majestically around this little cove here, and you're going to add extra 3 walls down here and at the top, which will extend the bridge. We'll make a bridge, and it'll add the 2 panels we need for our recycler, which is a standard. The one I'm using is a 4 impact and a 4 impact with a wooden floor spike to slow them down. The wooden floor spike slows them down for 2. The first panel, these 2 panels, they'll be slow, and they'll be pushed out that way. On the rare occasion an assassin husk, you know how those things go. They like to path their own stupid path wherever you're standing, so they'll run past it, and we'll add a secondary recycler to push them off the other edge, which, believe it or not, does not always despawn them. When you push them off on the south side over here with this recycler that we're building now, and you'll need just a 3 impact or a 4 impact on the first or second one. Will work. And basically they'll drop down there, they'll walk all the way around, but if you push them too far out, they despawn. If they just fall right along the edge, yeah, if you really wanted to, you could add extra wall there just to keep them tight and keep them right where you want them, and like that. Just the 2s. A cone at the edge of here. I know I removed it on a previous build. You're gonna have it because apparently it's necessary, even though yeah. And yeah, this is standard looks like this. Yeah. And let's see, we're gonna be the smashers will always make it to the recycler. They're a little pesky. You could add extra walls, but around the edge of the mountain to prevent the smashers from wanting to go through there, you just need extra increased building health. I'm using wall launchers with way too much impact because I'm retarded, and I like to mess up the stupid CC counter. If you have something with increased building health that is not a wooden freaking Yeetificator 3, feel free to use that. But the basic thing for those walls around the edge of the mountain, not the inside here, these two in front of me that I'm standing on need to be placed, but it's the ones around the mountain, if you understand what I'm getting at. Yeah, moving on. Now that I confuse the heck out of some people, probably. And yeah, and you can add we're gonna add this little wall here will make the smasher walk on the edge, and once he's on the edge, he'll just walk right off the edge of it after the other trap that we're going to have on the flooring freezes them, or if you're unaware, the wall launcher will push them, just not as far as a Husky Husk and or Assassin Husk. So yeah, there's that. So we're gonna slow them down. This is the danger zone, and we don't want them getting too far into our danger zone and coming this way. I apologize for that. That was yeah. Okay. Some of the other Slinger Wall we're gonna need is over here connected. Let's see if I can. This is what it'll look like. The basic premise here is we need to push them off the mountain, get them to our first and secondary recyclers, depending on which spawn they spawn at. The south spawn, they will always come over here and bug you, so we're just going to have to push them off the best as possible. There's two ways you can have the Slinger Wall over here. You can have it fancy and have it completely symmetrical, and I just go for simplicity purposes. I want to make it all even and looking all pretty, but that would cause us some extra structures. So just to prevent that, you're just going to add just a standard 1-2 punch for the cones around our knockoff block-offs is what we call those. This Slinger Wall here covered two tiles from the edge of there with an angled, just two angled walls, one connected here and one connected adjacent to the opposite side, rotated like this, connected to that, and a little of this and a little of that, like that. And that's the main purpose of those is to push them off the mountain. It's where we want them. We want them down there on the cliff. So if you can do that in any way fashionable that you want when they get around to this corner, you go knock yourself out. The preferred method I'm going to use is a floor panel connected to our main danger zone area here, and this is the only floor panel that I'm going to be using because that's what I use and it works fine. Moving on, we're going to add a freeze trap to the rest of these. This helps with the smasher from wanting to run all the way through there, and or helps them push off a little quicker. It will knock them down. And the last thing you need on this impact here is just one with maybe a higher reload or something, just like that. And we also need just a little bit of damage for the wave 5, possibly. If oh my goodness, wave 5, if there's a stupid mini boss spawn on this stupid amp, it's just annoying because he just walks through there, and it's you'll see. Just you may want to check on it is what I'm saying. 50-50 on wave 5. If it's here, there's a chance it'll be on pit. If wave 5 is on pit, you're fine. So, but moving on, you're going to add wall darts. Just the standard wall darts. I have two different kinds. I alternate as I will. They don't have to be exact. You can use any two wall darts you want, and or one wall dart. If you don't have a higher level wall dart than 144s, then you've been slacking on ventures, and you may want to hurry up and finish your ventures, because if you're unaware, they end on June 19th or the 20th, possibly. They have not set an official date, but when they announced venture start last season. This is when they said it was going to end to this season. So yeah, just a reminder, get to work, get your upgrades. Yeah, and speaking of upgrades, don't forget to upgrade every single tile on any build. If you did not upgrade anything, it's not going to work properly. I see comments in the comments section saying, "Hey, it doesn't work." Then they're cussing me out and making me feel sad and everything, and I have to delete their comments. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. uh, so one of the traps that we're gonna add at the end of this tunnel, which is also prevention for a husky husk and stuff that make it past the CC counter. The smashers will always recycle once or twice, sometimes 3 times if you're lucky, and you're gonna be lucky once or two times here and there. So, and this is just the standard. You have extra traps by now. If you're following along in my other builds, you have about 200 extra traps you can place on this, not necessarily all on the same amplifier, but this one right here, especially with the recycler, you have this much space. If you really wanted to go all out crazy, you have all the way into the edge of that meteor. Yeah. Matter of fact, when I'm done with this, all this build, I think I'm going to go crazy and just go to town on it. And it's not necessary because of the recycler anyway, so just ignore everything I said. And that's the basics of the build. I will test this thoroughly, and I may or may not have a cut here and there later on, but let's see. We'll do a double check. I mean, you know how when you want to you destroy your build to do the build to replace the traps. You necessarily don't want to destroy everything all at the same time. So if you have other amps, just leave them and build them one at a time. If not, 2. So yeah, this is a final look at the basics of the beach amp, and that's all you need for beach. The Slinger Wall is the most important thing, because that'll save you so much structures once you get that in the right position. And this only works with the other panels that have been placed. Every single panel is important, and so is your like and everything else. And I'd appreciate y'all sticking around this far.